Anyway, you asked, how did I become the mayor?
Yeah.
We moved into Canfield in the year 2004, and in 2005 I became an auxiliary policeman, which I thoroughly enjoyed. They gave me probably $2,000 worth of uniforms, and I loved wearing a uniform, having worn a uniform for the better part of 14, 15 years in the Army and in the reserves. And 8.5 years I was the bailiff in court, which is the room right next door to where we're sitting now, this being the mayor's office. Really was content, happy with my life. And I was quite reliable at being the bailiff. I scheduled my vacation around court dates, and I was always there, and somebody must have noticed that. And then in 2013, some of the leaders of the community council people came up and said, it's your turn to be mayor. And I said, oh? That was 5 days before the deadline to register and get the signatures, the petitions going, and so on and so forth. They said, we're going to do that, but it's your turn.
Huh.
So I ran unopposed, and I beat the hell out of a blank line. So that's my story. So the long and the short of it, I've never been in politics before. I have an industrial engineering background. I love systems and knowing how to function within a system, and it's taken me a while to learn this government system. But having the time of my life. I'm the mayor. I'm the judge in mayor's court. I find that very rewarding. Very rewarding. I find being the mayor very rewarding. I pride myself in being proactive rather than reactive. And these are trying times for government, as you may or may not know, that Columbus has done some things whereby the revenues that used to flow out of Columbus back to municipalities and townships no longer are out there. One is the inheritance tax, the so-called death tax.
Mm-hmm.
That's been eliminated. Now that's a good thing. That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just gonna hold it too.
The inheritance tax, it's been eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a good thing. I think you should leave your belongings to family or to whomever you choose, rather than have government come in and take some of it. That's a good thing for the individual. The municipalities that depended on that revenue coming to them in the form of revenue are struggling because it's no longer there. Then there was another revision whereby they reduced the personal income tax in the state of Ohio from 7.1% to 5.1%. Unfortunately, and that's a good thing. We should reduce taxes. However, the 2% that they reduced were the revenue sharing that would flow back to municipalities and to townships.
Right.
So, yes, it's good that we reduce taxes. Yes, it wasn't good because that revenue source that governments came to depend on was no longer there. Then they did something more, and I don't know the exact details, but I know approximately what it is. They took small business and reduced taxes for small business, and as we all know, small business creates 80% of the jobs that are created in this country. And that's a good thing. We should tax them less. But I believe it's something like $250,000 or $300,000 in profit for a small business. They no longer have to file income tax on that amount.
Right.
Again, that was money that flowed back to the municipalities. So there was good and bad to things that have happened. Good for the individual, which is as it should be. Bad for the people that depended on that revenue. So coming in as the mayor in these times, we had to start to figure out how are we going to survive through efficiency of government, through reductions of one sort or another, through the wiser use of the assets that we had. So it's been a challenge. And it's been a challenge.
Wow, so you kind of have a unique background, infantry officer.
The military has helped me all of my life. The experience that I had there, it has taught me how to attack problems. No pun intended to say military and attack the problems, but the things that jump up in front of you in everyday life, yeah, the military has helped me tremendously. You don't even know how many times I've said that to anybody willing to listen. The industrial engineering curriculum, the industrial engineering discipline has helped me considerably. You show me a system that man created, I can just about figure out how to beat that system or prevent other people from beating that system. So,
Awesome.
so I have a very good background, which I like to think makes me effective.
You went to YSU,
Yeah.
worked in Youngstown for quite a while.
Yeah.
So Youngstown born, Youngstown bred, right?
No, not Youngstown born. I was born
Oh, really?
I was born in a log cabin in Perryopolis, Pennsylvania, on the banks of the Youghiogheny River.
Wow.
Log
Okay.
cabin, two-story log cabin with walls this thick. And the reason I was born there, it was Depression. My mother took my older brother and herself
Uh-huh.
to Perryopolis to Grandpa's house, and that's where I was born.
Okay.
But I knew that was going to become a depressed area. Okay, I knew the coal mines were going to give out, so I left when I was 3 weeks old.
Just had the foreknowledge, huh? Awesome. Yeah, I've always enjoyed, seeing you at that YSU, ROTC breakfast.
Mhm.
My grandpa, my dad, and now it's my turn to give it away since they
That
both
is such
passed.
that is such a pleasant. Excuse me for interrupting you. That's
Oh,
such
it's
a
fine.
pleasant experience.
Yeah.
You see these clean-cut people, these cadets. They're well-groomed, well-mannered. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. May I help you, sir? And then they get all these awards and the scholarships. I think we give out something like the better part of $80,000 to $90,000 in scholarships to these kids and the various awards. Wonderful day. It's just refreshing. If you read the Vindicator, and not to knock the Vindicator, I read it every day, but quite often bad news is news. The good news, the nice things in life, sometimes you read about it, but most of the time you don't.
Right, kind of on the back page or not at all, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, kind of moving forward, they kind of chose you to be mayor, I guess. Unanimously.
The words were, "It's your turn."
Hey, maybe they'll do that to me one day. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, kind of what are your thoughts? I guess as being mayor, kind of you weren't in politics, but now you are, and kind of like you have to deal with a lot of different things: sewer, taxes, fire, police,
Water breaks,
yeah,
sewer breaks, flooding conditions.
kind of get into that, like how have you handled that, and kind of like what are the economic ups and downs that you kind of seen here in Canfield and Youngstown area?
Well, the nice thing about being the mayor in Canfield, we have a city manager. We have a charter form of government. So the city manager runs the city.
Okay.
Council, and the mayor has one vote on council. We fund him. We tell him that generally this is how we want you to run the city, and he says this is how much money it's going to take for me to do that, and then we find the money and work out a budget for him to accomplish what we literally tell him to do. But the manager, runs the city. The nice thing about being in politics in that form of government, when one of our constituents comes forward and says, "Hey, I got this flooding condition over here," you can honestly say, "I will tell the people responsible for fixing that." And I do. We as council members are not permitted to give direct orders to any of the employees of the city. You can see what would happen. The city manager, they work for him. If 4 councilmen and a mayor had the right to go and tell those people what to do, everybody would have 6 bosses.
Right.
Take
Huh.
these 5 away, you got 1 boss, hold him responsible. I told you, you do it. So in that light, it's a good position to be in as a council member or as the mayor.
Right. You don't want too many
But what-
chiefs, right?
But what I like to do when there is a problem, when there's a water break, when there's a whatever, I like to be seen there. I like and I say that openly. I think people get a certain comfort level knowing, okay, we've hired this guy as a city manager. He's got to fix it. But there's a guy that we elected. He's sloshing around in the mud with the city manager. And it's like leading military. The infantry school, follow me.
Exactly. Awesome. Yeah, so I was driving around here, Canfield, beautiful area. They're making a big new what is it, assisted living facility right over there?
Yes, yes, Windsor House.
By the Canfield Fair. How's that going? How's
That is going
the work going
beautifully. Let me give you some of the details.
Seems like they've been building very quickly, very rapidly.
It's going to be in service in the fall, late summer or early fall.
Okay, awesome.
But let me tell you about that. That property lies in the township. We, the city, we cover 4.62 square miles. City of Canfield. 20 miles around that is township, Canfield Township. So we have our responsibility, our police, and water lines and so on and so forth. Out in the township, they have the sheriff is policing that, and Youngstown Water is servicing their breaks. The long and the short of it, if you were contiguous, if you touched the guy at Windsor House, John Masternick, would have been able to request annexation, and we could provide him the water and sewer. We have water and sewer.
Tap into it.
Because of the way the deeds were put together when 446 went through, at one point in time we probably were contiguous. When the state got the right to 446, we're not contiguous anymore. There's a space we don't touch. So, that being the case, legally in Ohio, they cannot request annexation. So in order to sidestep that and make all the parties happy, we created a JED, Joint Economic Development District. That's an agreement between an incorporated entity, City of Canfield, and an unincorporated entity, Canfield Township. And under that agreement, there will be a 5-member board that will govern that. The township will collect the real estate taxes, and that's a $10 to $12 million construction project. It's estimated that that property was paying $4,000 a year in real estate taxes. That will go up to $20,000 to $24,000 with that structure being placed on that land.
Wow.
So all of a sudden there's income to the township. Once it's part of the agreement, the JED agreement, that if we put our water and sewer there, the people who work there will be subject to our 1% personal income tax. It's estimated it will be a $2.2 million payroll, 1%. The township will get the better part of $20,000. The city will get the better part of $20,000. It's a win-win.
Yeah. I like winning, man. I like winning.
Those are the best deals. Win-win.
I like that. Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I can't wait to see the finished product because I'm looking at this thing and it
looks beautiful.
It's a castle.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so you got that going on. Obviously, you got the Canfield Fair. That's always great to see each year.
Interesting for you to know, or at least I hope it's interesting for you to know, you have several entities here. You have the City of Canfield. We're incorporated. You have the township, all of that surrounds it. You have the Canfield Fairgrounds, a separate entity. They have their own police force. People think that Canfield gets a lot of money from the Canfield Fair. None. It's a separate entity. It funds itself and they just keep improving the grounds. And you even have a fourth thing in here. You have the experimental farm, which is Metro Parks.
Yeah.
So
Mill
you
Creek.
have a collection of interesting entities.
Yeah, you kind of, I guess people kind of assume it's all, Canfield, but
City of Canfield.
Different entities, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it seems like the Canfield Fair is about to build, they're looking for funding to build something new there, I think, right?
They make a profit as such, which they reinvest.
Gotcha. Okay. And just keep improving the
They're
fair
not a
each year.
for-profit organization.
Right. Okay. What besides
Before we
Yeah,
leave
go
that,
ahead.
I just want to share this with you. Since I've come to office, Marie Cartwright, a trustee for the township, and I have put our heads together and we said, let's start using the term Canfield community, because too many people wanted to say Canfield City, Township, Fairgrounds. Oh, come on already. It's Canfield community. We're going to sink or swim together.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what else, I guess, is on your mind, kind of looking forward, kind of the ups and downs that have kind of occurred in the past couple of years here?
We've had 2 mild winters, which has helped us economically. Salt became an interesting commodity. When I first came in as mayor, I think we were buying salt for $27 a ton. And that was in the fall, when you placed your order in the summer, okay? And then you got some. And if you ran out and you had to buy it in January, all of a sudden it was $120 a ton. So if you have a harsh winter, you have expenses that you maybe haven't provided for. We've had 2 fairly mild winters, which has helped us considerably in just our salt bill. And of course, the overtime to spread it and the overtime to plow. So mild weather is in your favor. Harsh winter, and I think the first 2 winters were harsh of my term. That would have been 14 and 15. We struggled.
Right.
We struggled. We have the best, we Canfield City, we have the best roads in the county. Best roads in the county. People drive in the city, I mean, it's like, when I first moved here in 2004, the first winter we were here, 2 snowflakes fell. And I said to my wife, I wasn't the mayor, I wasn't even an auxiliary policeman at that point. I said, Jerry, I think the mayor must live on this street. 2 snowflakes are down there plowing. Well, lo and behold, the mayor does live on that street. But that's every place. Are you aware in the city of Canfield, on an ordinary day, if you live in the city, chances are a police car passes your house 3 times while the sun is shining and 3 times while the sun isn't shining. Think about that.
Yeah, they're always going.
And we get criticized, all those policemen. It's not all those policemen. It's 2 policemen that keep moving constantly. And they do their patrol randomly, which is desirable in police work as opposed to predictable.
Right.
Because if I know you're coming at 8:30, I'm going to go rob the place at 8:45.
Exactly. Yeah. Make a turn here and a left there, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. You guys definitely have a good police force, and they definitely, try to keep bad people out, right?
We're one of 3 agencies in the state of Ohio, I'm led to believe, that have a requirement that every one of our policemen has a minimum of a bachelor's degree, and approximately half of them have master's degrees.
Wow, I didn't know
And 1 pharmacist.
that. Really? Okay. Wow.
Who's working on his master's degree in criminal justice.
Awesome. So they're very well educated
Highly
and
trained,
very
highly
and
trained.
highly trained.
Yep.
Awesome. That's what you definitely need to
Yep.
protect a very good city like Canfield here.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. What Okay.
Let me tell you a great story about cooperation between communities. And you mentioned Columbiana.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe 3 weeks ago, somebody robbed our bank, one of our banks. And we got the call, and there were eyewitnesses, and in less than 2 minutes we were on the site, but the perpetrators were gone. So we got descriptions within 2 minutes. Within 4 minutes, we had a all points bulletin, a BOLO, if you please,
Yep.
out to
Be on the lookout.
all the surrounding agencies.
Yep.
That was at 12:30. At 2:30, a Columbiana police person stopped the truck, caught the perpetrators. They had the money in the truck.
Oh gosh.
They had the clothes that they had changed in the truck. Held them at gunpoint, I'm told, and called us. And she held those people as we went down 46 to pick them up. 2 hours. 2 minutes we were there, got statements from everybody. Within 2 minutes of getting those statements, we put out the all points bulletin to everybody around us. And a very alert Columbiana police person
Got
saw
him.
it, reacted to it, held them with a gun.
That's awesome. Working together, 2
Yeah.
communities.
We having been an auxiliary policeman, I'm close to those guys. I know all of them. And we have a very good working relationship with other police agencies, surrounding people like us, the regular police agencies, but ATF, FBI, marshals.
Mm-hmm. U.S. Marshals.
So we have a good relationship. Yeah, and I mentioned before, we love to use the word Canfield community. We've got to stop with that Canfield City, Canfield Township. It's Canfield community.
Yes, sir. It starts today. So what do you think with Columbiana? They're really seems like they're moving and shaking down there, man. They got this mall down there. What's going on?
They're moving and shaking because they have a very progressive young mayor who I met the first time I went for my judge's training in order to and be the judge in mayor's court.
Yeah.
I met Brian Blakeman, who is the mayor down there, and he is proactive. He's a mover and shaker, and he's doing some nice things.
Okay, gotcha. Hey, we're doing the same thing here in Canfield, right?
We're trying. We're trying.
Okay, so
He's younger. It's easier for him to move and shake.
hey, maybe I could be your assistant. I don't know. We'll see. So he's got like this big strip mall going on down there. You know, it seems like a lot of people are moving. You can't really get a house down there.
Right.
Kind of the same thing here in Canfield. You know, so is there a lot of building going on in these areas, or new build?
I should have at my fingertips. I think I can tell you that I think we built 10 new homes last year. Don't hold me to that exactly, but it's in the ballpark.
Roughly, okay.
And I think we have a projection of doing at least 8 this year in the city, and that's nice. We're out of land. We don't have any land. So if you look at Redgate Farm, 288 acres.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at this parcel on Palmyra Road that we're in the process of annexing, it's been approved. Okay, and then we might move down to Route 224, and so you got 288 plus 57 plus 111 acres. That's a better part of 450 acres, and it's all cornfields.
Yeah. What about like that Redgate Farm? There's like all those cornfields there. Like, were they like planning on like building a school there, or that? I mean, what do they want to do with it? They kind of like been kind of sitting on it for a while, right?
Well, the city owns it. We own it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, what are they planning to do with it? We would love to have people come in and develop it. We don't want to own it. We want to provide the land for people to come in and.
You know, real estate developer.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
There you go.
Then
Know it.
then you'll have more land to build new houses, right?
Yep.
So, okay.
Yep.
I know a few people.
There might be people. A lot of people have looked at Redgate. It's beautiful rolling land, and it has natural gas line going through it. It has high tension lines going through it. Actually, the generating facility that's up in Lordstown.
Yeah.
For one of my crazy moments, I thought, man, we got the natural gas coming in to fire this thing. We've got the high tension lines to take the electricity out of here into the grid. Now, I don't know that we would want a generating facility out in that very nice residential area or agricultural area.
Right.
We want to develop it right. We want it to be something that fits in that, because we're going to respect our neighbors. If you go west, you have a beautiful, beautiful development there, some very exclusive homes. We want to be a good neighbor. We don't want to put a steel mill at that end of the property.
Yeah, it's so quiet and country out there that
Exactly.
you know you don't want to lose that. You know, like a White House fruit farms and
Yeah.
all the good stuff out there.
Exactly.
Okay. So what is the biggest issue? I think there's like just annexation and stuff, and then like tapping in the different lines to get the developments going, or
Once we annex and we get water and sewer out there, then it's a whole new ballgame.
gotcha. Okay.
Because if you're going to build homes out there, well and septic, it's okay, but you have to take a large piece of land to accommodate well and septic. I don't know what the restriction is in Mahoning County. I know my son lives up in Russell Township, which is near Chagrin Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Minimum of 5 acres, because you're going to have well and septic. Well, you're lacking in density. Okay, if you have water and sewer, you just put those city lots right in the line.
Right. So what's the process? I'm not really familiar with the process. Like, does that take long, or who needs to just like a vote on it to do that? How does that work?
To what?
For like the annexation and stuff?
The commissioners have the county commissioners have the final say.
Okay.
Now you have a situation, and I don't know that you want to misunderstand what I'm going to say. Every time the city takes land in via annexation, the township loses part of its land.
Right.
So the township is not anxious for us to proceed with annexation.
I see. Okay.
Our only hope for growth is annexation
Right.
to acquire new real estate. So you got this tug of war, okay, and it has to be beneficial to both.
Okay, kind of have to be on the same page and have that win-win like you were talking about earlier, right? So, I guess you have to kind of have to figure out what the township wants, and so they can feel like they won.
They Let me tell you the truth.
Not the political answer? Okay.
No, it is the political answer. Every time a new business goes up on 224 outside of my city,
Yeah.
Canfield,
Uh-huh.
I'm thrilled. I am absolutely thrilled every new business that goes up out there. Do you know why? Because that vacant lot, that empty field that they put a building on, and then as the real estate tax goes up, like I told you, Windsor House,
Mm-hmm.
roughly $4,000 a year as a cornfield, goes up to $24,000 as a castle put on it.
Right.
Well, when something goes up in the township, new business, I'm thrilled. That hotel that went up, the hotels that are out there, God, is that wonderful for me. You know why? 60% of the real estate tax collected off of that business goes to the joint school district, mine and theirs.
Okay. Huh.
7% of that real estate tax goes to our joint fire district, theirs and mine.
Yours. Okay.
3.4% of that real estate tax goes to the Mahoning County Career Training Center on Palmyra Road, which is in the city of Canfield.
Mm-hmm.
60 and 7 and 3 plus, over 70% comes to me and to them.
And they're, building the economy. It's a new
How
business.
do you complain about a thing like that? Now, everything that takes place in the city, if I annex and change a cornfield into housing, or maybe a hospital, or maybe a, who knows, assisted living facility, half of that real estate tax goes to the township people,
Right.
their school, their joint fire, their Mahoning County Career Training Center. It's a win-win.
Right.
Why is it so hard to convince people of a win-win? Trust me, it's hard.
Well, I guess at some point too, you do still want to have some cornfields, right? To kind of offset, kind of the building up of everything too, right?
No, in answer to your question, no, I don't want any cornfields in my city. I want them in the township.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant. Gotcha.
I knew what you meant.
Okay, understood. That makes a lot more sense. Kind of like dividing, making divisions in your head, kind of, a diagram. But
Exactly.
It makes a lot more sense now. Okay, awesome.
One thing I want to share with you in real estate, you may or I'm sure you know this. The city of Canfield is in the geographical center of Canfield Township. Big deal. Canfield Township is in the geographical center of Mahoning County. We are the center of everything in Mahoning County.
Right.
Think
Awesome.
about that.
Kind of everything has to kind of you're like the nucleus.
Yeah,
Everything.
if you start driving north, you're equidistant to get to Trumbull County. If you start driving south, that's how far it is to Columbiana County. I mean, it just... And the Mahoning County Career Training Center is right where it belongs, the geographical center of Mahoning County. People from Sebring don't have to go all the way to Coatesville or Youngstown or whatever. They drive down the road and they're here.
That's awesome.
Geography has blessed us.
Right, location.
You got it. You got to be in real estate.
Oh man. Hey, I did the Army thing like you, sir. So starting off on the right foot, right?
You got it. You got it.
So okay, so you have Canfield here, beautiful area, building it up. I guess we're kind of working with the township, kind of has its ups and downs.
We work with the township. We do not want to be adversaries.
Right. Okay.
But they're trying to hold on to what they have, and I'm trying to build on what we have.
How do you, I guess as a mayor, kind of forecast for the future and stuff? Like, do you kind of do 2 year, 1 year, 5 year, 10 year sort of thing? After you're gone, sort of thing. How do you do that?
You know what? By accident, this is not planned.
What's that?
This is the Canfield strategic plan.
Wow. Okay.
We are looking out as far as we think we are able to effectively see.
Wow. What do we got there?
This is
What's,
who we
what's
are.
on the agenda?
Well, we're trying to determine how we can maintain what we have, hopefully even improve what we have, and not raise taxes. So how do you do that? You have to grow. If I can get some real estate, if I can bring in some business out there, okay, every assisted living thing that I bring in, what if we put an urgent care out there? It's, what, 12, 13 miles to Salem, 12, 13 miles to Boardman, 12, 13 miles to Austintown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's even in Columbiana. Maybe an urgent care belongs out there.
Yeah, strategically in the middle.
Wouldn't it be nice if the Cleveland Clinic fell in love and said, gee, if we could be right in the middle of Mahoney County, we would have another satellite for the empire that the Cleveland Clinic has built.
Right.
I got water and sewer, and I got land. Come on down. That's what we're looking for.
That gives me an idea, sir.
And I wanted to say it out loud to you in real estate. We have that plan. Here it is. We're after council today. We're going to meet and we're going to have our strategic planning meeting after council. The public is invited, and we're talking. And we've been revising this and revising this and revising it. But here it is. So
Awesome.
What do? Well, we're looking for business. We're looking for people that want to come to Canfield. We got some empty buildings in this city. If you drive down 224, you're going to see what was an auto zone, I believe. Beautiful new structure.
I was going to ask you about that. What happened?
No, I was going to ask you about that. What are you going to put in there for me?
Yeah, so what's the backstory with that? Like, just people
know.
in Canfield don't fix their cars, or what? What's the issue?
I suspect that the guy who selected that location to build that building is
Uh-huh.
probably not with AutoZone anymore. It's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
And if you only know, I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, what belongs in that building? So being in real estate, go find somebody.
Okay. Huh.
I got an IGA store across from the Green. Empty. It's been empty for 2 years.
Yeah, it used to be the Sparkle, right? That building?
IGA. It was way back when it was Sparkle.
Okay,
then it was
okay,
IGA.
yeah, oh, gotcha. Okay.
You're in real estate. What if we were to have something similar to what they have on South Avenue, the so-called Amish store
Mm-hmm.
that's open, and maybe in summer you have farmers come in and sell produce in the parking lot somehow, some way. Maybe in winter you inside and you have the Amish bakers and I'm saying Amish, I don't know that I mean it. Kind of copy what's on South Avenue now and put it in Canfield. Make it a destination point where people might want to come from Austintown, from even Columbiana. They drive past several farms so to get here.
Gotcha, yeah.
But yeah, I got empty buildings and I'm waiting for somebody, some sharp young real estate person to come in and fill those buildings.
Understood, sir. Mission received. Warno is received. That's funny. Okay, yeah, that sparks some light bulbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got more empty buildings. I got things right on what we call the Village Green, which is it's beautiful. Every day that I've lived in Canfield, and I'm going on 13 or 14 years, I can't recall anymore, I drive around the Village Green looking for one blade of grass out of place. In all of that time, I've never found one blade of grass out of place on our green. But anyway, we have some locations there where a little boutique, a little this, a little that,
Right.
and put somebody in there.
Right, to kind of give it a little downtown spark, right?
A Chagrin Falls kind of thing. Have you ever been to Chagrin Falls? They got a popcorn shop, and and people just go there at night and they want to be there. I would love for that to happen. We get it when we have concerts on the green in summer. We have 8 concerts, and we'll get 200, 300, 400 people. They come and they sit. They happen to all be old, but that's neither here nor there.
Right. Yeah, young and hard, right? You said you're 21, right?
Yep.
You're a funny guy, man. I'll tell you what. Okay. Yeah, that
You
gives
know
me a
what?
lot of ideas.
You know what? This job is fun. And if you let your imagination run wild, it's sometimes the imagination gets so far ahead of your abilities to perform that it becomes frustrating. Yeah, I had that great idea, but I have no idea how to initiate it. Okay, uh, but I'd love to think out of the box. And if you could do 1 out of 10 things that you come up with, they might even call you a success.
Right. Exactly. It's all about your mindset.
Yep, yep.
Okay. What would you say to any like young person wanting to, I guess, aspire to be like a mayor or some kind of leadership in a town or a city?
I've answered that question before. I've answered it by saying something like this. I was 76 years old when I first tasted public life, an elected position. I was an engineer. I had a good career. I had a very good career. I've done a lot of things, a lot of different things. I think had I tasted this in my youth, 25, 30, 35, I probably would not have been an engineer. I probably would have been in politics. I like it. I like rubbing up against people. I like solving problems. I like trying to sway people.
Right.
Okay, it's a challenge, and I never had an appreciation for the complexity of getting water from Meander Dam to come out my tap and be able to drink it. Holy moly, this is some complicated stuff, and you do some various testing, and you better have some competent people all along that water line doing everything they're supposed to do. Keeping the roads open, oh my goodness gracious. I have kiddingly said when I'm speaking and we're talking about, Good Evening Canfield is coming up on April the 27th, same day as the awards breakfast. I'll make a comment something like this, and we had a light winter and that was good. I said, but I'll say something like, we even had last year we had to dig a pothole just to be able to say we had one, like the rest of the county has. And I'll get the reaction to it.
Right.
But we have excellent roads. We have excellent roads because we have a paving program. Every year we're going to pave. Sometimes the roads that are the worst in our city wouldn't be paved for the next 10 years someplace else in the county. But we attack the problem. We attack it. We have a program. Every 10 years we want to be doing this, 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 and this.
Mm-hmm.
So, in answer to your question, I think all young people should take a long look at government. And in Canfield, we do something interesting. May the 5th will be Civic Day. The high school seniors will come down and we'll have a council meeting, and they'll sit in the various chairs and we'll stand behind them, and we'll have a mock council meeting so that they see how the city engineer works, how the prosecutor works, how the mayor works, how the councilman work, how the president of council works, how the clerk who keeps track of all this. They'll taste the various positions, and who knows, maybe just one kid will be touched, say, I want to do that. I was going to study engineering, but maybe I'll study political science. Who's to say?
Right.
Who's to say?
Awesome. So it's a battle every day. You're being a salesman. You're being a leader. You're solving problems. So there's a lot. It keeps it fun, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
A lot of people look to you for for leadership and inspiration. And it's great.
And I love it. And I got to tell you this: as a mayor, I took this job when I was 76. I have used the word "whereas" in the proclamations that we write. They go, whereas, 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 whereas. I now declare this such and such a day. I never thought I would use the word whereas as many times as I have
you do
in
not.
proclamations.
Okay, whereas. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, people, I really appreciate that. People in Canfield really take care of, what they have, their property and everything.
Yeah.
It's, it's a real pleasure to drive around and see the beauty that's here.
Yep.
So.
Well, we have some pretty tough zoning laws. We have some pretty tough maintenance laws. And if you don't cut your grass, we'll cut it for you. $100 a cut.
Right.
Okay, and you'll come into my mayor's court, and I'll tell you about it. If you come into this town, you're going to maintain your property,
Right.
which is, in my opinion, a good thing. There are those who, some people can't see the washing machine on their front porch, the used or the abandoned car parked in their front yard. In Canfield, we see that stuff, and we ask you to move it.
Right. I mean, because people move here, and are willing to pay a little more to live in a great, beautiful community that you have here. So that's kind of the difference than some of the other areas.
We're not asking people to go to an extreme. We're just asking people to do what is expected to keep their property looking neat. It doesn't
Right.
have to be immaculate, just neat.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you said your birthday's tomorrow. You'll be 79, and you've seen a lot of Youngstown, kind of the good and the bad.
Mhm.
It seems like a very excellent time to be alive right now. It's really, so many things are really improving.
Can I bore you with my story?
Go ahead, sir.
79 years old tomorrow. I have lived in the best of times in man's history, the absolute best of times. I was born in 1938. I don't know the Depression. I've heard about it, but it wasn't a good time to be living, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you were poor. I remember the end of World War II, but that's all I know. I know that the Germans surrendered. I happened to be the day that they did that. I was downtown with my mother, and the people went crazy. They were in the streets, and I kept saying to them, they're going to get hollered at. They're in the streets. I was like 7 years old. I remember the bomb on Japan, but that's all I remember. My brother was in Korea. I was too young for Korea. I was commissioned in '59. I was a head of NOM. I stood on the wall, not wanting to go because I had 3 kids, but we were going to go. We were going to build that little red schoolhouse for those people. But so I was between wars. The times that I have lived, hard work was good enough to make you middle class. And education was easy to get. Youngstown College was here. You wanted to be an engineer, an accountant, a teacher, or whatever. It was there for you. It was handed to you on a platter.
Right.
I worked my way through college. I think we're passing into a time where hard work isn't enough to make you middle class. That concerns me. Because I think if you put forth the effort, but it's at a point where we have to acquire a special talent, which in too many cases becomes obsolete too quickly. You might be an excellent programmer, and then they change the language and you're obsolete.
Right.
Whatever. But my life, 1938, and I'm only staying till I'm 100, so I'm going to put in 21 more years after.
You're taking,
And then I'm out of here.
Take it for upstairs, all right?
I'm out of here. But I have, in my own mind, I've lived in the best of times. I've had a very good life. Couldn't ask for any more.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing, the technology now. It's changing monthly. These apps and all this other stuff they got going on. It's kind of wild.
See this guy?
You're like a cowboy in the wild, wild west here, man, with that thing.
This guy is probably 100 to 1,000 times more powerful than the mainframe computer we had at U.S. Steel in the 60s and 70s. And that was in an air-conditioned room. It would only function between 68 degrees and 76 degrees. Otherwise, it was just going to say, stop, I'm done. Okay. This thing, I carry more power, more computing power on my hip than that big mainframe had. The
Yeah.
mainframe itself was the size of this room, and then it was the air-conditioned surroundings around it. Amazing to me. If I do live to be 100, if I put in that next 21 years,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ever going to understand the full capability of this little instrument. And you can reach out into the world. There's no wires to it. How does that happen?
Right. Hey, you're high tech with that thing, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can text.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just learned how to do that a few years ago myself. Yeah, so my grandfather was Arseny Melnick, and
Yes.
my father was Robert Melnick. They're both attorneys downtown at the
Yep.
they own the federal building with my uncle John, that was a radiologist in town as well, and
The Melnick Building at YSU.
yeah, that yeah, that's him. Yeah, I mean, so now, now it's my brothers and I. It's our kind of our generation to kind of, take our hand at what we can do, and kind of the Melnicks. We were always kind of in real estate.
Very, very respected name. Very respected name.
I appreciate that, sir. Thanks. Yeah, they're always in real estate, and now it's kind of like the backbone of our family. And my brothers and I realize, it's our turn to kind of carry the torch, and that's why we're kind of doing this in real estate. And yeah.
Do you really think you might want to go into public service?
Me personally, yeah, I do. I don't know when the time would be, but I'm trying to create a path for that.
We need young people who lean into the wind and want to solve real problems. I'm not going to be critical of any politician that's out there now. Sometimes we get lost when we get in here, and I haven't been in long enough to get lost. I'm still leaning into the wind. But we need some people who are looking to the future and are proactive, and some free thinkers. We've got to think outside of the box.
Right.
I can't imagine anybody telling you what I told you about the inheritance tax, and starting out saying, that's a good thing. You should be able to leave your estate to your family rather than the government. However, it's sure hurting me at this end not having that revenue come in. We lowered the personal income tax. That's a good thing. You should be able to keep the money that you earn. However, that was the revenue sharing part that came back to me. I wonder how many politicians are out there that are strong enough to say that. And I don't place myself above the other people who are out there in political office. But you have to take a realistic look at some of the problems that face us. The Republicans have their line of thinking, the Democrats have their line of thinking, and they just keep peddling the same thing, where the answer lies halfway in between. If we pass a law that nobody likes, it's probably a good law.
Right.
But our politicians don't seem to have the fortitude to say, this was good about that act, but it affected me in a negative way. This was good about that act, but it affected me in a negative way. So now that we've acknowledged that, what are we going to do? So you know what we're trying to do? We're trying to grow our city the only way I know how. Get more real estate and then develop it so that I enhance my tax base so I don't have to raise taxes to get the revenue that I was accustomed to getting. I lost $1 million, not I, Canfield, okay? I lost $1 million. I don't have that to spend. When you have a $10 million budget and you lost $1 million, do the math on that and you say, oh my God.
Right.
If you had $100 million and you lost $1 million, who cares?
It forces you to have a very good budget and utilize your money correctly instead of kind of these politicians that throw money around at these programs that are worthless. You have to really kind of cross your T's and dot your I's.
Yep.
Awesome.
You know what we did that I think was nice? Very small scale. We have the concerts on the green that I told you about.
Right.
8 concerts. Here's a brochure. Maybe I'll get this. Okay. 8 concerts. In the past, the city would put $4,500 of city money, tax revenue money, into concerts on a green. Well, when we were running out of money, one of my most unpopular things that I did is this: no more concerts on the green. You're not going to have concerts on the green. What is wrong with you? Who do you think you are, coming in our city and becoming the mayor and saying something like that? So I said, there were 3 people that were sponsors. This is current.
Okay.
There were 3 people that were sponsors: Farmers National Bank, Home Savings and Loan, and an 89-year-old lady named Barb Dixie, one of the people that lives in the city. For Mother's Day, her kids said, Mom, what do you want for Mother's Day? She said, I would like for you to give a donation to Concerts on the Green in my name. So they did.
Wow.
So what we do, a councilman, either me or a councilman introduces whatever band is playing this day, okay? So I got up there and I saw that Barb Dixie, who is this Barb Dixie person, okay? So when I was introduced, I said, is Barb Dixie here? Yeah. I said, I really want to, this is years ago, I really want to thank you for contributing money to make this possible along with the city and Farmers National Bank and Home Savings. And we were given $4,500 and I think the cost was $6,000 or something. So now we run out of money. I said, we're going to cancel the city's portion. And we did. It was almost revolution. And I said, you know what? You know what? Barb Dixie gave $200. I'm going to ask her if she's going to do that again. I'll give $200, and I'm going to ask for donations from people. First year.
Yeah, look at all
Look
those
at
names.
that list.
Wow.
Look at that list of people. We have money in the bank from the first year. We needed $4,500, so I think we got $6,500. And now we've started again. And on her 91st birthday, which I attended, I asked her to be the honorary chairman again. She said yes, and her son, Jack, is the guy who goes on and collects. Look at these people that have contributed because we asked them.
Cheerful givers, man. Cheerful givers, right?
Well, cheerful giver, but you know what? There's a lot of ways to skin a cat. If you run out of money, maybe the people will listen to you. These people listened. That's a great story as to what are you going to do to survive in this environment.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to ask for help. You know, there's certain projects that have to get done in this city. We're going out to the Mahoning County Career Training Center. They're building benches in our park. Kid just got an Eagle Scout award, and I came up with a proclamation with the whereas and whereas and whereas and whereas. And he
Yeah.
built these benches, and they're beautiful, beautiful. Maybe we have to get people involved. Maybe we can't just look at government and say, buy that for me.
Right.
Maybe, why don't you help me create it for us?
Exactly.
That's the future, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're only as powerful as your people, and hey,
Yep.
government can't solve everything, right?
Yep.
Just like you said, the private companies build all, create all the jobs, 80% of the jobs, right?
Yeah.
So,
Small business. Yep. What else you need? Go into public service. I mean, it's you've got the image, you've got the attitude. You're an excellent listener. Excellent listener. That's the key to success.
Dale Carnegie, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, you know the story about Dale Carnegie?
I don't know the backstory, but it was my grandfather's favorite book, so he told me to read it.
Dale Carnegie is this is probably true. Who knows? He's at a cocktail party. A lady comes up to him. She gets introduced to him, and she starts
Non-stop talking, yeah.
20 minutes goes by. She finally wears down. He's able to get out of that conversation. He exits. She looks at a lady friend of hers and says, I can see why he's famous. What a great conversationalist he is.
Yep.
All he did was listen.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, people just want to talk.
People want to talk, yeah. Now, in my particular case, I will render an opinion on any subject, whether I know anything about it or not.
Self-proclaimed expert, right? But yeah, like in the English language, I think is the number one word, right? That people like to say, right? So.
Sometimes I do use the word I when I talk about my city, my city. My wife says, it's not your city. I said, I think of it as my city. I'm the mayor. I'm in charge. Ceremonial as it may be, it's my city, dear. I'm responsible for the good and the bad that happens here. And I think if you have that attitude, I don't think that's a selfish, egotistical attitude. It's my city. I got to treat it like my own property. Okay, I can't abuse this furniture. Okay, this is my city's property. It's not mine.
Right.
Okay, so sometimes you're misunderstood. Even by my wife, who's been with me for 54 years. It's not your city. I treat it like it's mine, and I treat it better than I would if it was their city chair.
Right, exactly. Interesting.
Remember that when you run for mayor.
I will. I will. Hopefully, I'm unopposed. Just put my name down there. One last question. You're well versed here in Youngstown. Did you ever do any, I guess, kind of traveling to kind of understand how other similar cities, maybe in other states, kind of run? And you kind of took kind of pros and cons of that, and also like the city of Youngstown with Mayor McNally.
Who's a friend, by the way.
Okay, awesome. That do you guys kind of share different stories and how a lot you can kind of improve? Because a lot of people that work in Youngstown live in Poland, Canfield, right?
Yeah.
So it's very relatable.
I know Lowellville, I know McDonald, the guy who's left McDonald and is now in our state legislature. I know Franklin up in Warren. I've sat with these people, but never really talked about Jim Melfi and Gerard. I never really sat down and talked about the mechanics of how do you handle this, okay? You're asking, do you feed off of my counterparts?
Right.
I don't. I don't know why, I just don't. We get together, we talk about anything and everything, but seldom do we get into the specifics. You're going to find, you take Niles, Mayor Skarnecchia, he got some unique problems. He's got some unique, I don't know what goes on there, but I mean, like, wow, okay. You take Sebring, they got some unique problems, okay. Many times you can learn by just from the Vindicator. If you have a water system, which we have, and we're responsible for testing it after Youngstown gives us the bulk water, and if you don't do it right, you could go to jail, okay. Sebring, somebody's kind of forgot to do something, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But it's almost so specific to the city that aside from grant money, if you know where this guy's getting grant money, you might want to know that so that maybe you can get some of it. But you don't even have to know that from the city itself. There's an organization called Eastgate, which is a council of governments, and they know where grant money is till hell won't have it. And we're gonna go with what we call Phase 3 on Route 46 going north out of the city, and we're going to widen that. If you go down, it's nice and wide, and if you go down at night, there's got some beautiful lighting, and all of a sudden, zap, it's over, okay? You're onto this bumpy road. That's one of our projects that we'll be doing this year. But we don't get input from other cities. We get input from Eastgate. And they are a very, very effective organization. And there's a point system. If you bring a request for monies into them and they know how much money is out there, depending on the magnitude of your problem or the points that you have to justify that. So this year, Struthers might get something and I didn't get something. But next year, that's kind of taken into consideration and you move a little higher on the list. And it's a wonderful organization because nobody that's a part of it criticizes it. So it must be running pretty well. Think about that. So I think Eastgate, this council of governments, takes the place of individuals having to talk to each other. Now you can get help. Police work as an example, or road maintenance work. You know, hey, do you have this kind of a machine, and is it working, and is it that kind of stuff? But I don't get involved in that because I'm not operating a city. I'm here again, ceremonial.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Hey, I love to take the job one day. We'll see.
I think you would be good. I think you would, and that's my first read on you. And my first read on most people has been very good to me. My gut instincts have been good.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of interviewing some of the local mayors and then getting the big fish, like you said, McNally up at Youngstown.
I think you will find John very interesting. John takes a lot of abuse. I really wonder how much of it is deserved. That Southside Hospital, that's a money pit. That's a money pit. John said, we shouldn't take it. And all of a sudden his world exploded. I'm not real sure why or how. But it is a money pit. It's just everything you do costs twice as much there. Or 3 times as much.
Just with the maintenance of the building? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.